The Berean Pulpit welcomes you to my study from Hillsboro, Missouri. Hello, this is Brother Oates. Micah chapter 5 and verse number 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. The prophet Micah looked through the telescope of prophecy 750 years and told us the location of the cradle of Bethlehem. But there were two Bethlehems in the life of Christ, just as there are two in modern-day Israel today. There's Bethlehem of Judah in the southern part and Bethlehem of Galilee in the northern part. Micah said this was Bethlehem Ephrathah. Genesis chapter 35 and verse number 19, and Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Micah gave us the correct Bethlehem. And in further describing it, he says this, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. Bethlehem was a very insignificant village, just a few miles south of Jerusalem, but it was famous for the greatest king that Israel ever had, King David. But Micah goes on and says this, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel. If you think King David was some great king, wait till this king arrives. The aged apostle John, in Revelation chapter 19 and verse 16, put it this way, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. You see, Jesus would become the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Micah also tells us that this birth of the King of Kings was like no other birth the world has ever seen. He says his goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. Let me make this very clear. Though Christ came there in Bethlehem, he did not begin there in Bethlehem. You see, he always was. In Colossians chapter 1, in the latter part of verse number 16, all things are created by him, that's King Jesus, and for him, that's King Jesus. Verse 17, and he, that's King Jesus, is before all things. And by him, again, King Jesus, all things consist or are held together. You see, in Matthew's Gospel, chapter number 1, this event was described this way. Verse 23, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and she shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. So unique was this birth that our Gregorian calendar is even marked by this event, BC, before Christ, and AD, the Latin for in the year of our Lord. And so in this Christmas season, as we look to the cradle of Bethlehem, let us not forget that the cradle always pointed to the cross. Bereans, search the Scriptures. God bless you.